Hello and welcome to the Father and Son Pastime podcast. I'm Patrick.
I'm Kevin. How are you?
That's my dad. Dad, it seems like you're ready. You're just coiffing your hair.
You know what? When you look like this, you just need a little touch-up.
There you go.
It's a natural look.
I'm glad. Dad, we are in the second phase of our trade predictions. If you watched, I guess it would be now 2 episodes ago, we did the who could be traded, who could be a seller, who could be almost like a buyer. But things have changed since we've done that podcast.
Yes.
Things have changed rather dramatically. The AL East is all above 500. Quick take before we really get into it. Does that change where the Orioles are for you? Are they still sellers?
I think they're still sellers. Unfortunately, I think it's going to rock the clubhouse a little bit because they've climbed that hill. And I think Elias, the general manager, will still trade a few pieces. It won't be a complete, 4 or 5 guys leaving. It might be 1 or 2. But I think it will impact the Orioles. I think they'll lose a little momentum when their heart and soul of the team might go away. That will rock them a little bit. So, but great. I mean, Seattle, Dodgers, Orioles, hottest teams in baseball. Really cool to see. And, the Orioles have a future. And I think, 2 years from now, they might be, contending for a wild card. So, yeah, the future is bright in Baltimore.
Good, but still sellers. You did mention the hottest team in baseball, which I think is standalone, the Seattle Mariners. 14-game win streak. If you listen to that last podcast, I said they were pretty much dead in the water, and I think they're going to be buyers now, Dad. What do you think?
I think they're going to be big buyers because they're chasing, a division that's a little weak right now. I mean, you got some teams
chasing the wild card. They're not catching Houston.
Well, true, but I'm just saying, if you look at their record right now, they're kind of leading the pack. It's going to be the 3 division leaders, but then the next 3 people that get in, they're going to be close. So I think it's going to be a heck of a fight with that. And good for Seattle. They had a horrible 2 months, and then they rebounded, and they got some youth on that team, and I think it's a fun team to watch.
Sometimes fights help.
Yeah.
Any other changes in the guard that we want to note about for the AL teams? Anybody that's going to be a seller that wasn't originally last podcast?
The White Sox might end up thinning the herd a little bit.
They're a 500 team right now, very similar to the Braves last year this time.
Yeah.
I don't have them selling yet, but it could be. Again, we are right now at the All-Star break recording this on Home Run Derby on July 18th. Things could change between now and the second for many of these teams. The White Sox are certainly hoping to not be sellers considering their payroll.
Well, the thing that you read from the Chicago press is La Russa, and is he on the hot seat? And what's his status going forward? They're already talking about Ozzie Guillen coming back to be the interim manager.
Whatever gets La Russa fired.
So I think right now the White Sox are in a little disarray. They got to get hot and then kind of go from there. But I think right now, is it a good clubhouse? I'm not sure.
Okay. So possibly, not time will tell on the White Sox. Any changes in the NL, Dad? Anything you want to bring attention to that's, a change in the buyer-seller status?
You know what? I think in both leagues, there's teams that are going to get involved in the trade deadline to make the World Series. In some things, there's solid leads. The New York teams, Houston, got solid leads. So will they get players to get them to the World Series? Because right now it looks like they're going to make the playoffs. They got to make the next jump. Teams like Minnesota and some other teams, and Milwaukee, St. Louis, need to get to the playoffs. So I think there's different tiers in the major leagues. The Yankees does have little pieces to fit in because they want to be in the World Series. They're a couple pieces away. They're going to be aggressive and get those. The Mets will be ultra aggressive. So I think it's 2 different tiers: World Series and playoff bound.
Okay. But has anything changed within, do you think San Francisco's now going to be a seller? Or, probably not.
No, I think they'll add pieces. The Phillies will add pieces. They rebounded a little bit. Mm-hmm. They were in a little doldrums, and they came back even with Harper being hurt. So I'm not sure the status of Harper if, when he comes back and everything else. But I'm just saying that Phillies made a little climb. Definitely would be buyers. So that East got 3 solid teams right there.
I think you're saying about the 2 tiers and 2 almost purposes going into the trade deadline. Yeah, Houston, Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, I think are all trying to win that World Series. Mm-hmm. What's going to not just get us there, but win us the World Series.
Correct.
But teams like the Red Sox, White Sox, San Francisco Giants what do we need to do to make sure we're not the last man out, last dog at the bowl, type of thing. So I'm very curious to see how each of our predictions go. Do we put big names with the big teams? Do we put just a little tweaks to the big teams, and like the big splashes are done by the White Sox, Giants, Red Sox, I don't know, Blue Jays.
Yeah.
So
a lot of it's payroll, too.
A lot of it's always payroll. Uncle Stevie with the Mets does not care about payroll. Dad, I thought we'd dive into the trade candidates. If you need to refresh your memory, viewers at home, that was another hour-long podcast, a couple of podcasts ago. We're going to go position by position. Rather, we did team by team, and now we're kind of putting all those players into categories. Hey, who needs a catcher? Who needs a second baseman? We identified, I want to say, 4 or 5 catchers, Dad, that could have a different home come August 3rd. I kind of narrowed down to 4. Let's start with the big name. Let's start with Willson Contreras.
Definitely looks like he'll be traded. I think they're entertaining offers as we speak. I see him going to Astros.
You know what? I was looking at my original predictions and how bad Martin Maldonado is doing offensively. Jason Castro is now in the IL. I'm like, Spanish-speaking catcher makes a lot of sense. Unless Houston's bluffing and trying to maybe not send out the biggest package ever. They keep saying, hey, we aren't going to trade for a catcher. Maldonado is our starting catcher. I still think Castro's injured, so I still think there could be some upgrade at that level. However, the biggest need for a catcher right now, besides Houston, is the New York Mets. I do think one of those two teams will make the biggest play, biggest push. I think the Contreras brothers being in the same division could be a lot of fun. But yeah, I have the Mets.
Think about this. The Cubs were after up-and-coming talent. Astros have that. The Mets may not have that. Yeah. So right now, Jed Hoyer and the gang are looking in, what can I get back? Willson will bring at least 3 players. Houston has the inventory. I'm not sure about the Mets.
Mets have the second best prospect in the pipeline, and he's a catcher. I don't think he's involved in this trade because Contreras is just a rental piece, but don't count the Mets out of doing something. And I think this is also a little crazy. Mets could take on Jason Hayward's contract with Willson Contreras.
True, and then there was,
and then boom, they just become, who cares about your prospects? Thanks for paying his salary.
Yeah, I mean that's a good thought process. I think really good logic. And the Mets starting catcher is hurt, so I'm thinking
out beyond the trade deadline that has been publicly said.
So if you think about, I think in New York now it is all about visibility, the media, and all that stuff, and it's almost like a little ping pong match and everything. The Mets are trying to make a splash. The Yankees are going to try to make. They're doing great this year. So who's going to control the fans' dollars and everything else? Both teams will be very active in the trade market.
It's funny how we were talking earlier about who gets those high end pieces. Both of us are a World Series caliber team lands Willson Contreras.
I agree. It's going to be interesting to see who the highest bidder. And if you're Jed Hoyer, you're saying, okay, let you two work it out. He's on the phone going, hey, the other day, Houston gave us this. What are you going to give us? So
counter offers.
Yeah.
That offensively for catchers, it's a drop after this. I give the nod to second best catcher on the board is Sean Murphy if he becomes available. I know he's got a couple years extra, but the Athletics probably should look for a new home. Where do you have Sean Murphy going to?
Giants.
Okay, I see the Giants as a need as a catcher. Joey Bart's having an year. Kirk Casale's out for a while. I see the Giants being a huge player in catchers. Why does he make sense just going across the bay?
I think, one, the Giants are saying, hey, we had such a good year last year. We enjoy being at the top of the loft.
Who doesn't?
So they're saying, hey, we need to fill some holes. I think for Sean Murphy, they can gather Sean for a reasonable price. They may not be in the Contreras discussion, but they can get into the Murphy discussion. And I think to be a great addition for him. Shores up a big hole.
Kind of the same, I guess, mentality almost as that injured catcher. We need somebody. The Minnesota Twins are my pick to land. And what will be a blockbuster, I will get to that, would be the largest physical trade of the summer between the Minnesota Twins and the Oakland Athletics. But Sean Murphy, Ryan Jeffers is out, I think, 2 months with a broken thumb or finger, I forget. Gary Sanchez is catching, can catch. He's not an everyday catcher. I think he's more of a DH
defensively he's a liability.
Right. So I think you bring in Sean Murphy, especially with some years of team control. I think there's an opportunity there for Minnesota to be a buyer on a catcher. Now, again, I still have San Francisco buying, just not that catcher.
Okay. I'm very interested in this blockbuster.
Well, I'm going to reveal it each step of the way.
Yeah, because the Twins were bottom of the heap last year. They've had that nice rise. They like being in a playoff contention because they missed it last year. They'll be very active as well.
Do you want to know what the package is?
Oh, I'd love to know.
Sean Murphy's not the centerpiece of this.
Oh, I know. And somebody else is.
It's Frankie Montas.
Yeah, I knew that.
It's also Elvis Andrews for salary relief for the Oakland Athletics.
Okay.
The not centerpiece coming back to this, the Minnesota Twins have a great farm system. A kid by the name of Royce Lewis.
Oh, yeah.
Has been up and then injured. I think Correa's actually found a home with Minnesota. I don't think he opts out of his contract. He may try to, extend an extension past these 3 years, honestly. I think they don't have a home for Royce Lewis anymore, and he becomes in this package, and eventually
first-round draft choice.
One of the best Oakland Athletics shortstops.
You know what? Very good prediction. Very astute.
I know he's injured.
Yeah, but I'm thinking for number one draft choice, he hasn't really lived up to that status.
He's just injured.
And then, like Buxton and everything else, they drafted very well. That's a great trade. I think Minnesota might add a few pieces.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I was just saying I even said not as a centerpiece, but a name that people are going to recognize. I think a lot will be the double AAA talent from there.
Then Minnesota goes up a couple notches to that level that they're playing to get to the World Series. Very good. Very good. We can stop now. This is great.
They just want to win a playoff series because they haven't done that in like 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah, good idea.
Dad, third ranking catcher. This is another probably drop at Tucker Barnhart of the Detroit Tigers. Having a really abysmal year, but people need catching. Where's he going?
I think Rays are in the contention with this guy.
I have Rays as for the next person, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that he would be a fit for that. With Cincinnati, he was a very good catcher. So defensively, I think he's one of the better ones in the league. So I can see that Tampa Bay is getting him. Fits their financial profile. So, yeah, I think it's a good fit.
Zunino being out, someone's going to become – Tampa Bay's going to become calling for a catcher. It's kind of funny how dominoes fall. I have Tucker Barnhart going to San Francisco, your previous pick, mainly to be sort of a role model for Joey Bart. He really didn't get a lot of years under Posey. Posey was kind of leaving. He was kind of coming up. He might have had like a season on the same team, same bench.
Yeah.
But Tucker Barnhart is experienced enough that he can get back.
Yeah.
He gave back to Stevenson, who took over for him in Cincinnati. So I think he can teach. And I also think San Francisco has this ability to find out that one problem with a player and fix it. Look at their pitching staffs over the years. How do you improve people like Cobb and just some of these reclamation projects that have just turned into really talented players? And I think they're able to get Tucker going, at least for a second half, to platoon with Joey Bart.
And he was a winning team. So
it's better than his current situation.
Yeah, that's true.
Anything out of
Detroit's offense has been the downfall. No one saw that one coming.
Even Javi Baez can't hit.
Yeah.
Dad, the final catcher that I want to note is Kurt Suzuki. Like I said, I have him going to Tampa Bay, kind of for the affordability, senior, stratus. I think it's Mejia is their catcher in lieu of Zunino. So I think an older Kurt Suzuki could do well down there.
That's a good point. I have him get into any of those teams that don't get the first three that we talked about. So I think as they make trades, it's going to be a domino. He'll end up on one of those teams that need a catcher that didn't get it, the one they wanted.
Like an August 2nd deal at 4 o'clock. Hey, we failed. Let me go get Kurt
Take
Suzuki.
that day off, by the way.
Yeah, we are taking it off. We'll be here all day. Dad, any other catchers that we wanted to highlight?
No, I think there's the big two that I can think of, then falls down a little bit. But from what you read, Contreras is right now the king of the prom, and everybody is after him because right now he's the number one free agent. So wherever he goes,
offensively at least,
yeah. And the great thing about it is he can DH. So he doesn't have to be your catcher every day. That's why Houston makes some sense.
Well, every team has a DH now. That when McCann gets back, and if he's healthy enough,
right.
Have McCann just DH and Contreras catch so McCann can get back into rhythm.
Correct. So there's flexibility with Contreras that may not be with the others.
A month ago when I made these predictions, I had two juggernauts, speaking of of World Series contenders. Getting 2 of these 4 catchers I just named, I've recently changed that. The prediction here is, for me, nor Houston nor the Yankees land one of these top 4 catchers. I think that's the Yankees wanted to add this catcher, but now I seem they seem happy with Trevino, and Higgy, and then the Houston has said they're happy with Maldonado and company.
Yeah, but how can you be happy with somebody who's sub 200, defensively great, but again,
It's Maldonado.
Okay.
It's a captain of the team in a way. Like
I know, but you gotta, offensively,
Yadier
like a
Molina's
spark.
having a terrible year, but he's Yadier Molina.
I know.
They're not upgrading their catcher, and he's even injured right now. Yadi's on the IL.
I just think they need a little spark, and I think I think they have the ammunition the Cubs are looking for.
Let me see if I got a spark coming for Houston. We'll see if I got a spark coming. You know what? I really don't. Sorry,
Okay.
Houston fans at home, if you're listening. I really don't have a big spark coming to Houston. I have one addition, but I won't call it a spark. So we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay.
Dad, let's move on to first base.
Okay.
With Carlos Santana being traded to now a contending Seattle Mariners, I originally thought they would flip him. I don't think that's true anymore. So we're looking at 3 first basemen, could also obviously play DH. The top 3 are Josh Bell, Trey Mancini, and Christian Walker. If Walker's available, I know he's not a free agent at the year's end. Same with Mancini, he's got an option. Josh Bell, again, by a mile, far and away the best first base addition. Then Trey Mancini, then Christian Walker. And again, if you don't think any of these people will get traded, just say they won't get traded. There'll come a time where I'm sure I'll say not traded for somebody, especially some pitching. Then let's start with Josh Bell again. 300 hitter, tons of home runs, tons of power, contract year. One of the easiest going to get traded labels. Where's he going?
Twins.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. You like that?
I do. I originally had, if you go back way, way back, Anthony Rizzo to the Twins in free agency this winter. So I know they need an upgraded power bat. Sano is injured. Gary Sanchez is doing some DH, some first base. Luis Ariz is doing a first base, second base combo. So you think he's
I think it's
power bat?
I think it signals for the Minnesota fans that they mean business and they want to win that division and do really well. But I think that's a great fit, and I think Josh would like it in old Minnesota. So
Okay.
yeah, that's where I have him going.
Well, I'm glad we have Minnesota being active. I have him going to the Boston Red Sox. I think he makes an incredible amount of sense. As we will see, Bobby Dahlback is going to be in a trade coming up. Not in this package, back to the Nats, but he will be in a trade package for somebody else. I think the Bobby Dahlback thing is kind of over. I know it's a great Boston name, Bobby Dahlback, but he never got going. I think he's 27 now. He's fun to watch. He looks like he's 12. But just Josh Bell, I think, is what is needed for that Boston offense. All the other upgrades I think they'll do for starting and starting and bullpen. But they do need some run producing if they would like to contend for a wild card spot. East is a runaway with the Yankees. They're hoping for one of those last wild card spots.
Okay, that's one of my choices for Josh, but I just think that again, ammunition. Twins have some ammunition.
Does Boston get any first baseman?
Yes, they do.
Go ahead.
Trey Mancini.
Okay, so at least you put Boston as a need. Okay.
Yeah.
Why Trey over Bell, for example?
He knows the division.
Okay.
A lot of the division matchups
He's
coming
just
up.
hitting that monster, though. The same wall.
He will love the monster.
All right.
Because the reason why he was out of Baltimore because what he did to the fences.
I know,
And
but
I think he is, first base, DH, maybe left field, but I think he has some versatility. A very good clubhouse guy, kind of the person the Red Sox need. I really think he's a great fit for the Red Sox with his leadership ability.
Okay.
So I like him in a Red Sox uniform.
Okay. Interesting.
Where do you have him going?
I have him as a reunion with the Buck Showalter. I have him to the New York Mets.
Wow.
As their DH. Pete Alonso obviously stays at first base. They really do need a DH in New York. They kind of need some outfield upgrades too, but a DH is needed. There's going to be a package coming out of Baltimore since we're talking already big deals. Trey Mancini and Jordan Lyles. Jordan Lyles is more of I think they'll go with almost like a 6-man rotation at some point. He could be a long reliever, whatever it might be, but Jordan Lyles is just going to be an additional package that Trey Mancini both could.
Now that sale's out for a while.
to the Mets.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're still thinking he's going to Boston.
Yeah.
No.
I got a package Mancini and that going to Boston. Okay.
Oh, that could work, but yeah. I think I know the Orioles don't really package that often. I just think that Buck Showalter, I think, is way more involved with Stevie than we think. And I think the players like him to be happy, and I can see him calling on an old Trey Mancini and finally get a Buck Showalter, Trey Mancini winning team going.
You know what? It's good thinking. Trey was only with Buck for like 1 or 2 seasons, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But enough time where, I'm sure it's better than his current coach. But I don't know. They're going to be going for a DH, so it's. Mitch Haniger was a person I could have thought could have been for a Met at some point, but now Seattle's going to be fighting for it. Mitch Haniger's still in the DL too, or the IL. I don't know. I just think that a bopper for a rental piece is really what they need. They could pick up his option if they really like him. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just think it really works out.
Okay. Good thinking. It's all great thoughts. Very impressive.
A man that should have been the home run derby dad, Christian Walker. I think he has 22 home runs at the break. Arizona Diamondbacks first baseman. Does he get traded?
I think he's... I'm not sure with him. I think he's a guy that could stay in Arizona just because he's got a valuable piece. Will they get enough back for him? Right now, I think he stays.
He's kind of like Frank the Tank, or Schwindel, out of Cubs. He blossomed a lot later in life. I think he's 31.
Mm-hmm. Was an Oriole.
Yeah, for a little bit.
Yeah.
I have him going. Going where? You're really going to depend on the package. But Toronto lands him as a DH. So Josh Bell, out of all this first base crew, is the only person still playing first base come October. I think Christian Walker... hey, maybe he could give Vladimir a few days off at first and swap out, but I think he'll be their DH bopper. Tapia is more of a fourth outfielder than a DH at this point. I know offensively they haven't been so blessed with people like Biggio this year, and very similar to the Red Sox. I mean, Bell, Walker, I could benefit both teams.
Okay. Yeah.
Any other first baseman you want to mention?
Garrett Cooper.
Yeah.
Marlins. I have him going to the Red Sox.
If the Marlins trade him, that'd be great. He's an all-star. Yeah. I think that could work. He can go anywhere. DH, first base, at one of these teams. I didn't have on my list. If I had to pick one off the top of my head, San Francisco Giants, the platoon with Belt.
Okay. And that would add a little bit of offense to him. Mm-hmm. Sure, I can see that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
All right, let's continue. No more first baseman?
No more first baseman on my...
Second baseman. Okay. My favorite position. Again, I had Adam Frazier in this group, but he's going to probably stay with Seattle at this point.
Yes.
Dad, rough group. I have Cesar Hernandez, Jonathan Villar. I know he's already been traded, but he could be traded again.
He was waived and got picked up.
Sorry, yes. And then, but he could be on another team this year.
Yeah.
And then Rougned Odor. So again, not a hot, sexy lineup of 3 second basemen. Yeah. Brandon Drury could also play second base. I have him more finding a home as a third baseman, so if you have him as a second baseman, that's cool. I think Cesar Hernandez is the best choice. I mean, he's great average. He plays every day. Where's he go?
I think Mariners might be a great fit for him.
I already have Adam Frazier.
Isn't he a utility guy?
Adam Frazier's our second baseman.
No. Hernandez.
Yeah, he's a utility guy, but he's leads the league in at-bats. So he's a starter.
Okay.
So you got to look for a need.
Where do you have him going?
Atlanta to replace Ozzie Albies until he gets back.
Okay. And then when Albies comes back, he can fill in around a diamond. Pretty good thinking. Mm-hmm. Pretty good thinking.
Yeah,
okay.
Riley needs a day off.
Okay.
Swanson needs a day off.
And he's good with it. Okay. I can see a great bench for that.
Mm-hmm. They're known for adding at the bench at the deadline.
Okay.
Like they did last year.
Yeah, they did well.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm with you.
All right. Cool. Yeah. We do not have a bet on all these trade predictions. We'll get like 4 right. We are not the experts or the writers or anything like that. Jonathan Villar, I do think gets traded again from the Angels. I'll lead off. I don't know if he was on your list. Goes back to sort of home. He's played for several teams with the Milwaukee Brewers as a little infield depth bench.
You know what? He did well with the Brewers. He had probably his best years with the Brewers. People in Milwaukee loved him. They're not going to get much for him, but it might be one of those minor leaguer, that type of stuff.
I think all of these are one minor leaguers.
Yeah.
I mean, not a good minor leaguer for Villar. Player to be named later.
Yeah.
Cesar Hernandez maybe like a AAA guy with some promise. and then Rufin Odor maybe a Double-A guy with a little promise.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there'd be any teams that are going to recruit Odor. He had a decent year, but he's not the most gifted second baseman, so he's more utility DH right now. Again, the Orioles are one of those teams. How much are they going to put on the market, and how much are they going to go, you know what, do we give this thing a chance?
I think it's just those three. I think it's Odor, Mancini, and Lyles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hold on to the bullpen, hold on to Santander.
Interesting.
I don't have him being moved.
Okay.
So it's really just the free agents and the guy, in my opinion, that's asking to be traded in Trey Mancini. Odor finds a home in San Francisco.
Okay.
I think his personality is really fun. He fits in that mold. Jock Peterson, they seem to be friends in my mind.
Okay.
The backup, which I don't think is going to happen because it's interdivision, is him finding a home with the Red Sox. Because one thing Odor is good at is beating the Yankees. If you look at some of the Orioles-Yankee games this year, Odor's numbers are high. He has a walk-off hit in, I think, 1 or 2 of those games. And Trevor Story right now is on the DL. IL. It's 25 years of DL I've been raised with. Probably more for you at home. But I think Odor could find either one of those teams home for the rest of the season. And again, just kind of fits with both teams. The funness of San Francisco, but the toughness of Boston.
Okay.
So
I can see him go either one. I think wherever
your Trey Mancini package, why doesn't it happen,
It could. I think he's lucky to be with the Orioles.
Oh,
their infield is not the best, but he's more of a second-tier infielder. So wherever he goes, he might be a good bench piece.
Yeah. And Boston needs that because their bench is terrible. Most of their team is bad right now. But Trevor Story, when he comes back, Odor becomes bench. And they did a very similar move last year with Jose Iglesias. So they've been known to add a middle infielder despite having Xander Bogaerts and Rafael Devers at the deadline to help improve their team.
Okay.
So something to look out for.
Okay.
I do think San Francisco more so than Boston. But I'd welcome in Fenway. Any other second baseman, Dad?
No.
It's a short pool.
It really is. I mean, if you really think about what my list is, it's majority of pitchers. And I think for the most part, most of the trades is adding pitching to their staff, especially with all the injuries this year. So I think a lot of the trades, 2/3 of the trades will be involved pitching.
Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, the big names we've talked about is Wilson Contreras and Josh Bell. Everything else is like, all right, nice addition.
A one-for-one kind of trade.
Right. But, again, I don't think Trey Mancini becoming a Met makes the Mets a World Series winner. But Bell with Boston makes him a playoff team. Contreras with the Mets, adds a couple wins. But, yeah.
And adds a little excitement and enthusiasm. Helps the clubhouse.
That shortstop pool is also really short. A lot of talented veterans that could find new homes to teach the kids, platoon with the youth, kind of show them the way. Offensively and defensively, it's a drop here. I have Jose Iglesias as the top person in this group. If the Rockies are smart and actually decide to trade him because they're dumb, they've said they're not going to trade anybody, which maybe that's them saying that we're going to trade everybody because there's no
They don't do well at the
consistency.
deadline. They don't do well.
But no. I do have him being traded, and this is the one Astro edition that I had, a Hispanic-speaking shortstop to teach Pena all the defensive stuff he knows.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like that idea. I had him entertaining the Rays.
Yeah. Wander Franco in the IL.
Yeah. There you go.
Any of these guys could end up in anywhere. So, these are very, we're not going to spend too much time on their predictions. Okay. Elton Simmons, when we did a free agent thing, I thought he was going to be a great addition to the Cubs. He's now more like a non-tender, but hey, a player to be named later gets him to the interdivision rivals of St. Louis because they've always kind of, who is my shortstop? Is it this young Nolan Gorman kid? Is it DeYoung? Is it Sosa? Who's my shortstop?
He's hurt again, by the way.
Oh, cool.
And I think the rules are you can't trade.
I think you have to get permission from both people.
Okay. Right now, what he was injured in spring training has flared up. He might be gone for another month. He might be in no man's land.
Yeah. Then maybe the Cardinals don't get any shortstop. It's just something.
Yeah.
Elvis Andrews, I don't think necessarily is a trade candidate. I just think he gets packaged to make the Montes and Murphy deal happen for Minnesota.
Okay.
Having a very average year. He's like 37.
Yeah, he's been around for a while.
I don't even know if he was probably on your list. Alcides Escobar, very similar thought as Iglesias. He goes to Cleveland. Cleveland's a very young organization, and Escobar goes from the Nats to the Guardians as a way to share your knowledge before you retire.
I'm with you 100% with that one. So, yeah, that's good. I got a couple of Nationals notes, and he was one of them. So, yeah, very good.
The Nationals don't have that much besides Bell.
They got a relief pitcher named Espino.
He's not a free agent yet,
Right, but I'm just saying that he was one on the list of the top 30 trade candidates just to add a bullpen piece to somebody.
Speaking of the Nationals, though, because we're not in the outfield yet, but I'm curious your thoughts. Does Juan Soto get traded with all this drama happening in the front office?
I think he does.
This trade deadline?
I do.
Wow, then we'll wait then. I don't think he does, so we'll wait to hear his prediction come the outfield.
Don't forget what they did last year.
I know. They're capable of doing monstrosity there, but I'm also really curious, and I'll get your brain percolating, which AAA team becomes the Nationals, because it's going to be the largest package I think we've ever seen for one person.
Yeah, when you turn down $440 million...
Think about being in that position. Think about that. Think about this.
He's 22 years old.
Right. Think about this sentence. I'd like to offer you $440 million. I don't know if most people even let that you finish that sentence. You go, sure.
Yeah. Where do I sign?
What? I don't care what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Tattoo my whole body.
And then you can, put in the contract opt out after 2 years or whatever. But if the initial offer is $440, you work on the details. I just think he goes.
I don't know how you say no to that. It's
bananas
to say no to that much money. But good. Yeah. I mean, it's just a sign, in my opinion, he doesn't want to be with the organization.
Correct. He sees that they're not going anywhere for probably several years. And I think we were at a game recently, and he looks bored. He looks bored in the outfield.
When you be bored if you're the best team on the worst team, like the best player on the worst team, really.
Yeah, and I think he got some, flack from, management or somebody by not hustling. So you can see that the pieces are like, hey, I'm going to go where I'm appreciated, and it probably is not going to be Washington. So I can see him being a blockbuster.
Yeah. Right. Well, I'm excited for when we get to the outfielders. We'll lead off with that after the third base.
Okay.
Dad, I see 4 third basemen here. 2 good. 2 okay. Platoon level. We'll start with the Cubby. Patrick Wisdom, I know, has floated around some trade talks. Does he get traded?
I don't think he's that good. He's got some power. He could be a DH, whatever, but he strikes out a whole bunch. And defensively lately, he's been abysmal. I'm not sure he goes anywhere where they think that he'll be a savior at third base. I don't think he gets traded.
He sounds like a Tampa Bay Ray to me. I mean, doesn't he sound like Joey Wendell, like a third baseman that just again, I'm kind of, I hit the ball. I'm not the greatest defensive.
Yeah, I mean. He was a number 1 draft choice of the Cardinals. Great organization. They released him. So then the Cubs, picked him up. He did some home runs last year. He did some things. This year he's got some home runs, but he's got 16 home runs and 30 RBIs. Not a clutch kind of guy.
Yeah. But if someone has value, isn't your whole thing get rid of almost everybody, rebuild around like 2 people?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, the Cubs are going to be the most active ones, but what team, they'll get 1 player for him? I'm not sure he's that in demand. I don't know.
Without knowing the Rays organization, the Cubs get offered, hey, we'll give you a pitcher. Rays pitchers, when you take it,
you're probably right.
They know how to draft pitchers. They develop them well.
And then they get a third baseman. They don't have any third baseman in the minor league, so hopefully one of the trades is a great third baseman.
Is Bote back?
He's a utility guy.
I'm gonna put him at third base. They're already losing games. It doesn't matter.
They're going first time in a long time. They're going to lose over 100 games.
Yeah. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Take us to Wrigley Field around sale.
And we'll be for a while.
Yeah.
The best offensive third baseman can play second base. Brandon Drury of the Cincinnati Reds, definitely going to find a new home, making league minimum as of this moment. Dad, where's he go?
I got him Mariners.
So like a platoon with Eugenio Suarez?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a nice little piece. Gives them some depth. I think Seattle's going to try to build what they can to really make a push. So last year they came, 2 games from being in the playoffs? 1 game?
Blue Jays were 1. I think Mariners were 2.
Yeah, I think they're going to go whatever it takes to get in there, we'll do it. And they don't have to give them a whole bunch for Drury. So I think he's Seattle bound.
Okay. I think he's White Sox bound. Very similar pushes. I mean, teams that are kind of around the we need to push to make the playoffs. White Sox are not winning a wild card. They got to beat the Twins. And Brand Jury, Johan Moncada is not having a good year. Very replaceable, almost negative stats. Third, make him a utility, almost second baseman, third baseman.
He was the kingpin of a trade with the Red Sox not too long ago.
With the sale trade, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have him as a White Sox, but, I mean, again, he could end up in Atlanta. I mean, there's so many places he could play second base, third base, DH.
Yeah.
Great year for Bringer. I think 18 home runs at the break.
Okay.
Next two, Dad, I think are very platoon. If you don't have picks for them, let me know. Maikel Franco of the Nationals. I have him platooning at the Brewers. They kind of do a lot of platoons with first base splits, outfield splits. He sounds like a Brewer. I don't know. He just kind of does.
Now, can he play a little outfield, or is he strictly infield?
He's like third base with DH.
Got it.
Yeah. Once upon a time, he hit for the cycle, so I don't know. I mean, there used to be power there.
Okay.
And then Matt Duffy, I have him going to San Francisco again, platooning with Longoria as he ages.
Not a bad choice, and he's a good bench piece.
Yeah.
You know, a good, you know.
Him and Odor on the same bench.
And you know, he started as a Giant. No, started the
yeah.
Rays, and then went to the Giants, and then to the Cubs. So he returned to San Francisco.
You spin my head right round, Matt Duffy. So again, not a really exciting class. Wisdom and Drury are the highlights of that.
Yeah.
Dad, let's move to the outfield. I want to hear your Juan Soto prediction, because I don't have one.
Well, you know, it's going to take a lot. You say to yourself...
The whole AAA team. The managers, the field, the stadium itself.
You know, if you really think about it, did one of the New York teams pull the trigger on this? You know? I mean, think about him in right field, and one has a short right field porch.
You think he's a Yankee?
One of the New York teams. I'm not saying which one, but I'm thinking, again, I'm going back to our argument of, you know...
They trade interdivision. You think he's a Met?
I think he's one of the New York teams.
Pick a team. Which one are you saying?
I say he goes to the Mets.
So he gets Alvarez, that top catching prospect.
Yeah.
Who else is he getting? Like their recent draft pick from like a day ago?
Well, you know, the Mets are famous for trading the number one draft choices.
PCA. But they would have to give up, Dad, like 10 out of their 10 top 10.
They might, but the owner is so maniacal about getting to the World Series. He pulls that trigger, and he thinks about the Hispanic population will flock to, you know, Met Stadium to see him play. I think he's an instant star in New York.
The one caveat that I'll have to that prediction. First off, I would love to see a Juan Soto trade freaking anywhere, honestly. Cohen has been on record saying Judge is going to be changing uniforms this offseason. And he wants to rob the Yankees of Judge. So, talk about extensions breaking down. I don't think... I'm wrong. I'm wrong often. I just don't think Cohen has his sights set on that right fielder, on Soto.
Yeah, with left-handed power, 22 years old.
Max Scherzer, Jacob deGrom, Aaron Judge. Like,
my God.
That's... He might... The thing is what's going to be really crazy, Dad, and this is my prediction, the Mets do not win the World Series this year. So can you imagine the money they throw at Aaron Judge to win it next year?
Oh, yeah.
So...
Yeah. Salary cap, there's no such thing.
If you're a Mets fan, I know this sounds weird, root to lose the World Series this year because then you go get Judge. And then I think you have it for 2023.
Can you imagine what he'll make per year?
50. I think both Soto and Judges are going to be like 50 a year. And right now they deserve it. I know that sounds weird to say, and you could disagree with me at home, but without Ohtani, Judge is the MVP. And if Soto had a little protection in the lineup, he'd be batting 320. But, I mean, he would be Acuna numbers. But, okay, so that was your big hitter. My big hitter outfield rise was Brian Reynolds. You're going to probably say he stays.
I am. How'd you know?
Because Brian Reynolds, it's Brian Reynolds and Whit Merrifield. Just rumor, stay. Rumor, stay.
Right there.
Rumor, stay. Yep. Whit Merrifield stays. You have it, Whit Merrifield?
Yeah, stays.
Okay, he stays.
He hasn't been traded in 3 years.
Reynolds gets traded this year.
To whom?
San Diego Padres.
I can see that.
And I have the package. So they need a center fielder. They have a lot of other stuff moving forward.
Yeah, they got a lot of baggage.
Luis Camposano, Trent Grisham, and Ryan Weathers, that 21-year-old starter.
Ooh, that's a good package.
Exactly. Pittsburgh gets a starting catcher for the next 6 years. Trent Grisham is still, I believe, on arbitration as a center fielder for, I think, 2 to 3 more years. And he's got a gold glove. Ryan Weathers could be the future ace.
Okay. Pittsburgh, I mean, they're building.
Granted, that's a risky thing because I think they're building, and I don't know if they'll trade Brian Reynolds, but God, I'd love to see him get traded because Padres with him are now pushing the Dodgers, and I'd love to see a race to the top.
Yeah, I mean, what's the they're behind
like 8 or 9 games. It's still a lot.
9.5.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah,
I just want to see a race.
We've got some blockbuster trades coming here.
I think we'll see a race between the Braves and the Mets, but Astros and Yankees, I see just fully running to the finish line. That's your ALCS. I don't see anyone coming close to them, to be honest. At least as of things lie, July 18th. Dodgers are just so running away with it.
Yeah, and they're going to add a few pieces as well. But right now, I mean, they are, the last 10 games, they're 9-1. So they're getting better and getting more momentum, and you can just see the confidence getting built. And that's a nice little cushion. And San Diego's 10 games above 500.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a hell of a cushion.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Good thinking.
Dad, I'm going to drop one. I'm going to go right to Andrew Benintendi. He comes back.
To the Red Sox. Look at that. I got it there.
Now, the huge caveat here is he's got to get vaccinated. Boston has been on record saying, we will not trade or sign anyone that's not vaccinated because of our trips to Toronto.
I know.
And if you want to be a Red Sox, Trevor Story was unvaccinated until he got $120 million thrown in his face. Again, what do I have to do to get the money?
Yeah.
I think if Benintendi is willing to come back to Boston, get vaccinated, the package is Bobby Dahlbeck, Luis De La Rosa, and Josh Winkowski towards Kansas City. Up-and-coming pitchers.
Yeah.
And Bobby Dahlbeck to...
And Benintendi's gone, so he's not going to re-sign with the Kansas City Royals.
No.
So he would love a reunion, and I think the fans would love a reunion.
Yep.
Great for the clubhouse.
I would either make JBJ a center fielder, make Doogie a right fielder, left field is Benintendi land, and Kike can be at second base when Story needs a day off, because he's not having a good year, so he's almost very much a platoon bench guy at this point, unfortunately. Maybe he goes back to center field when he's here. I don't know.
Is Bradley hitting?
No.
Okay.
No, he never has.
Okay. So he's
playing right field majority of the time.
Yeah.
A lot of ground to cover.
Yeah.
Other Kansas City guy, Dad, Michael, he had Boston too, by the way.
I did.
Michael A. Taylor, 1.5 years left on his contract, unlike Benintendi. Does he get traded?
I see him staying.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't see enough people. I think there's other outfielders in the mix. There's some good ones too, by the way. I just don't know if he... I mean, he's a fourth outfielder, in my opinion. Where does he go with you?
Milwaukee.
Good fit. Yeah.
So he follows...
He's center fielder.
He follows Lorenzo Cain, literally and figuratively.
Okay, I got somebody else going there.
Kansas City to Milwaukee.
Okay.
They're kind of doing center field by committee.
Yeah.
I mean, McCutcheon and Yelich, they kind of like the corners.
No one picked up Cain.
No, he's done.
Yeah.
Retire.
Yeah.
He's still fast, but yeah, he's just can't hit.
Correct.
And again, people call him slow. He could lap us. We could start at second. He could catch us. But I think he gets traded. I don't know Milwaukee's farm system enough to know who they need to trade to get him. But I think he's gone. Who'd you have? Stay?
I had him
stay.
Yes, I did. But it makes sense. The Brewers. I mean, it's a good choice if he gets traded.
Dad, let's drop to a cup. Get you reinvigorated. Ian Happ.
Guess where he's gone?
New York Yankees.
He's good friends with Anthony Rizzo.
Yeah, 100%. He looks good in pinstripes.
I think he's going to Yankees.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So
he runs a Compound podcast that's managed by John Boy Media that's based out of New York.
Yeah. And the great thing about Jed Hoyer is he trades guys that is good fit for the cities. So along the way last year, he traded guys close to their hometown or where they had roots and all that stuff. I think Ian going to New York and being with Rizzo was a nice fit. And the Yankees have a great system. I mean, what they got for Rizzo last year, both those guys are doing extremely well. I think they're, for half, and they might get 3 guys from the Yankees. But I think he's a good fit. Yeah. Switch hitter, by the way.
I mean, he doesn't have a beard, so he's already Yankee in that regard. He just looks good in pinstripes.
Yeah.
David Peralta, Dad, finally gets moved out of Arizona, in my opinion. Where's he going?
I got him going to Yankees as well.
Wow. So Gallo's got to be gone for you then.
Yeah,
okay.
Gallo is gone.
Okay.
Yeah, he's one of my people that are going to go.
Where do you have Joey Gallo going to?
I have him being released and getting picked up. Seriously.
Okay.
Getting picked up by...
So much money.
I know. Getting picked up by Padres, Rangers, or Cardinals.
I have him traded for a player to be named later to the Phillies.
Okay.
DHing for Harper while he's injured.
I don't know if you looked at his stats.
That's terrible. But he'll be better next year when the shift's illegal.
Okay.
Because,
But
yeah.
when we saw, at least when I saw on TV and then in person,
0 for 4.
not even a clue.
I know, but
I think he strikes out almost 40% of the time.
oh, but let me show you how he helps the Phillies. You have to pitch to him, so maybe that increases walks to Schwarber, helps the OBP of Real Muto, Stott, Gregorius. I mean, whoever is batting right now, Rhys Hoskins. It helps them maybe get walks or whatever. I mean, it helps them get runs.
I just I read a nice little short story about him, and he had so much potential.
Gold Glover.
And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened mentally, but he's not seeing the ball.
No.
So it's
Chris Davis.
I was just about to say that.
We're on the same wavelength right now.
Yeah.
Okay. I do think Gallo's gone too. You think release. I think it's, hey, here's a single A guy that's 28 years old.
I just think the Yankees, with so many moves, have to do things quickly. That's an easy one, my opinion.
All right. Dad, I think that's the top-notch outfielders. Let's drop down a little bit. Chad Pinder of the Oakland Athletics. And we can just kind of team in next on these
You
guys.
know what? I have him staying. I don't have him even on my list. So,
okay. That's fine. Tampa Bay, fourth outfielder.
Okay.
Robbie Grossman.
I don't have him on my list either.
Finally starting to hit a little bit for the Tigers.
Right, and he was a huge draft pick and had high hopes for him in AAA.
DH for the Rays. So I have both back-to-back Rays.
Okay.
41-year-old Nelson Cruz. Where's he going?
Back to the Twins.
I have him back to the Twins as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. That you had somebody going to the Twins to DH though.
Bell.
All right, so there. Well, you'll get one of them via package.
Well, if you think about it, they help that lineup. Once one's a first baseman, one a DH, they could use the offensive punch. Him going back to Minnesota would be a nice PR move.
I agree. Cruz, I still think he's platoon DH. That's why I have Peralta as well. Okay, yeah. Cole Calhoun, Dad?
I didn't have him on my list.
I have him in Seattle, help out Mitch, because I don't know when Mitch Haniger's getting back at this point, so kind of to fill in.
Yeah.
Much similar to what they've done with Carlos Santana and Ty France. I have him to the Mariners.
Okay.
I have Tommy Pham not traded.
I don't think anybody wants him.
Yeah, he's having a decent year, but
Yeah.
I have him not traded.
Yeah, I think the clubhouse worries me.
Jason Hayward, I have not traded.
Yeah. The plan is right now in Chicago is he's got a bad knee, and he'll have a bad knee the rest of the year, and they'll release him in the offseason.
If he goes to the Mets, though.
I know. I mean, that's great, and then his knee heals miraculously.
I think the only way he gets traded is with Wilson Contreras.
You know what? I think you're right. I think it's Jed Smart. He'd do that and then get out of that last year of the contract, which is like $26 million.
Yeah.
So
Tyler McQuinn again. What do you think? Reds need to move him.
You know what? I'm not sure there's a lot of takers for him. He's not a bad outfielder, but again, I don't have him on my list, so I don't know.
I have him going back to Cleveland.
Okay.
Again, just kind of being an experienced outfielder for a young team.
It adds a little punch to the lineup.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
The next three I don't care about. I have Jake Marisnick, either cut or a Padre, as kind of like what they've done with Cano. Hey, well, let's try you for a week or two.
He had so much promise when he was with the Astros, and then he went with the Cubs, and he had really a good half season, and this fell out of favor.
Steven Piscotty, Giants. I think him and Jock Peterson are friends, but I could be wrong.
You know, that's such a good thought because he went to Oakland to be close to his family, and then all of a sudden he stays in the Bay Area. That's a great thought.
Great. I just thought he was friends with Jock Peterson.
No, I mean, he that's the reason why St. Louis traded him to Oakland to be with his family.
I love that.
Yeah.
Dan Vogelbach just screams Milwaukee Brewer.
He was a Brewer.
I know, him and Rowdy Tellez as platoon and first baseman.
It's a wrestling.
The big boys of summer. It's the Dudley brothers in there in the squared circle.
It's a WWE.
Yeah. That is all the offensive people that did you forget any outfielders or DH?
You know what? We're doing a really good job covering stuff.
So that's
everybody that I have on my list we've mentioned.
The
only one we didn't mention is Ramon Laureano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think he's traded? I don't know why. You just keep pushing him lately.
He's a great fourth outfielder.
Okay.
Defensively would add, and I got him going to Red Sox as a fourth outfielder.
Sure, come on down. We'll take anybody. We'll take absolutely anybody.
Okay.
Anyone else?
I think that's it for offense.
All right, well, let's move on to pitching.
There's a lot of it.
50 minutes of offense, so we're going to be well over an hour. The home run derby starts soon, guys.
So we're going to do this quickly.
Yeah, we can get this done. We'll go through it. A lot of these are for me saying stay. And then when I get to the bullpen, everyone that's contending needs bullpen help, so I won't fight as much. Then I've already talked about Frankie Montas going to the Twins. Where do you have him?
Mets.
Wow, that's a rotation.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, money talks.
Yep.
Yeah. I do. I think Mets
if they get Soto and Frankie Montas, they won the World Series.
Correct.
Okay.
But that's what he wants.
Okay.
I just think that they're going to be in the mix, and I think they're going to hold out for the best deal, and the best deal from whatever. The Red Sox might be in the picture, but I think the Mets come through at the end.
I have Marcus Stroman staying.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to knock out two other people staying just because I'm on that kick. Merrill Kelly stays as a Diamondback.
Okay.
Sorry, two more. Madison Bumgarner stays as a Diamondback.
Yeah.
Zach Davies, I think, is injured, so he's staying as a Diamondback.
And I'm not. Cubs couldn't trade him last year.
Hey, it's pitching.
Yeah.
All right, so depending how you look at it, and I can kind of hear different arguments, either stats this year or just overall presence, Noah Syndergaard is probably the biggest name on the list presence-wise. Where's it going?
New York Yankees.
So this is just a Subway Series ready to happen.
Yeah.
That they're just going tit for tat. Sorry. My bad, everyone. Clip that. Tit for tat.
For your kids at home.
Yes. Not safe for work. I have him going up California, up the 101, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. San Francisco Giants to get a true ace in that staff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's only a rental player.
Okay.
All
right. I'm just saying about the Giants farm system. Okay.
I got a couple.
Yeah. But I just think a splash would be New York City. The Yankees.
If I have the Yankees missing all of these starting pitchers, so I could easily be wrong.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because, I think...
I have them offensive.
Okay.
Getting rid of Gallo, getting Happ.
Yeah, but they need some help with the pitching.
Listen, who doesn't? Yeah. I'm just saying that it's the calls. I mean, think about it's GMs talk about it all the time. Hey, we wanted him, just somebody beat us to him. So it's not like the Yankees aren't going to be calling on people. I just think that maybe a better offer comes along. Dad, I want to talk about my cool friend, Chad Cool. Colorado Rockies should trade him. I would love for him to be a Boston Red Sox. I don't think it's going to happen. But who do you have him going to?
You know what? I don't have Chad on my list.
No hitter this year in Colorado.
Yeah, and you know what? With Pittsburgh, he was a solid starter and everything else. Where you have him going to?
White Sox.
Good fit.
Yeah,
Very
I think
good
that
fit.
would help their pitching staff.
Medium, pitcher. They can get three guys for him. That's a good fit.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have Michael Lorenzen as another Angel giveaway. Not a giveaway. But if Cool goes to Boston, I have Lorenzen going to the White Sox. So obviously, Michael Lorenzen is a Red Sox.
Okay. All right. Well, the guy that you really...
I have more. I
know that. Yeah. But Louise...
Who do you have Lorenzen going to?
I don't even have him on the list.
Okay, we'll go to Louise Castillo. I say Louise Castillo stays.
I have him going to Red Sox. He's definitely gone.
I don't know.
No, he's definitely gone.
Left, right?
I'll bet you...
No, enough money's locked up tonight in the home run derby.
No, he's definitely gone.
If he gets traded, it's to the Yankees.
Nope.
All right.
Red
I
Sox.
say stays.
Okay.
I say dumb Reds wait to the winter meetings.
Okay.
Jose Quintana.
Oh.
Pittsburgh Pirate.
Yeah, I have him going to Blue Jays.
Me too! Yeah. Our first, that was a difficult one. There's some obvious ones, but...
Yeah?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, he'd do well there.
Yeah.
Wade Miley. Is first off, he's yet to lose this season because he's 1-0. Wade Miley, where's he go?
He may not be ready. He's still hurt with his shoulder.
Didn't he just pitch?
About a month ago, he got hurt again.
All right.
Yeah, he's out of contention right now.
I have Minnesota picking him up like a flyer, kind of like what they do.
Well, there's a guy named Drew Smiley who is pitching that fits that bill.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Same kind of person.
Yeah.
A name that, again, always kind of gets down, but he's either going to be an extension candidate with the Texas Rangers or he's traded. Martin Perez.
Martin
Perez.
I have him going to Phillies.
I have the Cardinals.
Okay.
Supplement that.
Okay.
All right. That makes sense.
Okay.
Michael Pineda.
I don't even have him on the list.
Brave.
Makes sense. makes sense.
And then the last starter was Jordan Lyles, and I've already said he was a Met.
Yeah, the big thing. How about Paul Blackburn?
Don't have him traded. He's an Athletic, right?
Yeah,
He stays.
Okay, I have him going to the Giants.
Great.
Okay, I think I got most of my start. Oh, how Tyler
Miley stays.
Miley. Oh, okay. I got him going to the Red Sox.
I love all these teams, like these players going to the Red Sox.
Yeah. All right, I think I'm done with starting pitching.
Trying to make him sound like a contender.
Okay.
Speaking of the Red Sox,
I got a bunch of relievers now.
I think the Red Sox need bullpen more than any other team in baseball.
Yes, and the Phillies.
No, Phillies have done really well lately with bullpen. They'll still add, but not
Right.
like...
Okay.
So I have the Phillies adding one person in this group. I have the Red Sox adding 3. I don't think truly this is more of a wish list.
Okay.
I have the following going to the Red Sox. Daniel Bard,
Yep.
Alex Colomé, and Garrett Richards.
I agree on all 3 of them.
Colomé Bard package from the Rockies.
Yeah.
Garrett Richards comes back to be a Red Sox. He's been a Red Sox.
Yeah, I got Michael Givens going to the Red Sox.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I have a Michael Givens, Rowan Wick package, but they're going to the Tampa Bay Rays.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, they love relievers. And half of them are really
Okay.
injured right now. I think
Okay.
Pete Fairbanks is injured. I think that Anderson guy's injured, so they need some bullpen pieces.
Okay.
Speaking of the Phillies stat, I have Mr. Fights a Lot, Amir Garrett, getting out of that AL Central debacle with Javi Baez and going to the Phillies. I think he's a good pitcher when he's not crazy.
He's crazy more often than not. Unfortunately, he has that little twitch.
Yeah.
So,
But he kind of fits into the fighting Phils.
well, yeah, I'm right on Broad Street and everything. He's a great left-handed reliever.
Yeah. But do you think Kyle Schwarber will let him do that?
No,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He kind of needs to be checked.
Yeah.
And Castellanos, like, there's some
Okay.
people in that
Okay.
squad that are like, listen, you're crazy, but we need you to not do
A little
that.
medication, maybe.
Well, Schwarber punch to the face could do that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
with you. How about Chris Martin?
I have Braves.
Okay.
You
'Cause
say names, and I'll just keep going back.
Don't forget, Chris Martin was a Brave.
I know.
Okay. All right.
I
Cool.
had a lot of return homes.
David Robertson.
Giant. Because they
Oh.
just released Jake McGee, who last year was electric. This year's released.
Interesting.
It's incredible how... Yeah.
All right. All right.
David Robertson. If Red Sox don't get Bard, Robertson is the backup.
David Bernard.
Bednar, Pirates, stays.
Okay. Michael Fulmer.
Minnesota Twins.
Okay.
Share yours while we're doing
Oh,
this too.
okay.
Yeah.
I got Bednar doing Phillies. Fulmer going to Rays.
Okay.
And then I think I'm out of pitchers.
Who'd you have Robertson going to?
Yankees.
Back home?
Yep.
Ian Kennedy. I have the Twins.
Don't forget a package deal. Happ and Robertson.
What a deal.
Yeah.
You want their whole AAA team.
Yeah.
You want to be the...
Well, you know, the Yankees do it so well down in the Dominican and everything else to get those really nice group of players coming up. You tap into that, and I think, you know, that would help the Cubs farm system immensely. And Happ, Robertson for 4 or 5, that's a pretty good deal.
The AAA team is Somerset Patriots? Is that right? I know they did that shuffle recently.
Yeah, it used to be Wilkesboro. I don't know anymore. But yeah, I'm out of pitchers.
All right, I'll keep going. Ian Kennedy, Diamondbacks to the Twins. Get him. He's not having a great year. Get him to have like one good final season. Mark Melanson signed a 3-year deal. St. Louis needs, because Giovanni Gallegos is what's happening. Jordan Hicks is no longer their closer. They kind of need stability, and him being a 3-year contract guy gives them stability at the back end of the pen.
But he's getting a little old.
I know, but he's
Yeah, okay, I'm with
stability.
you. I'm with you.
Hunter Strickland's good enough to be moved to the Mets. Steve Sheshik is good enough to be moved to the Blue Jays. Big win here for the Yankees. Underrated pickup. Willie Peralta. Great season.
Okay.
Andrew Chasen. Dodger. Makes sense. I think Dodgers always need good relievers, and I think he's a good reliever.
Okay.
Matt Moore. What a crazy story. That'll be our last pick. Starter, reliever, what's going on? San Francisco Giants as a swingman or to help that bullpen.
That's a good pick.
Yeah. Him and David Robertson, 8-9.
Okay. Pretty good. I like it. And San Francisco has a pretty good farm system.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can see a lot of players in the minor leagues packing their bags.
Uh-huh. I think we talked about 50-plus people. And if there are 50-plus trades between now and August 2nd, I don't know. I'll be so happy.
I think it starts next week. I think the trades are being formulated this week, and then it'll be announced next week.
Great.
Yeah.
I'd love that.
Getting to the last week of July.
I'm all in. Like, I am fully in the trade deadline. We'll talk sidebar after this, but we were thinking about going to like a game on like trade deadline day. I don't know if we want to do that anymore because it sounds like this is really gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Please, again, we did 50 plus predictions.
Yeah.
We're gonna be wrong on 40 some. Please let us know your predictions. Criticize the hell out of us in the comments. What are you doing? Why didn't you talk about CJ Crone? Why didn't you talk about whoever? Why don't you think Louise Castillo is getting traded, Patrick? Say whatever you might want. We want to hear it. We want to do the dialogue. Most of us will be wrong. Your predictions will be wrong at home,
We
too.
did so well with our winner predictions that, it's outstanding, our percentage.
Yeah,
from
our
the winner.
over and unders. The Orioles are on pace to win 80 games, which is nobody's predicted that. Baseball's baseball. That's baseball, baby.
Yeah.
Enjoy Home Run Derby. This will be posted after the All-Star break, but we're recording it on Home Run Derby Day. Enjoy the All-Star game. Enjoy a little break yourself from baseball. Rest, relax, appreciate it.
Enjoy the week.
Mm-hmm. You will need it before this trade deadline season.
Yeah. It should be fun. I mean, baseball is doing a really good job of trying to get the fans involved. This is their week. This is their week to rekindle all the flames and everything else. And in some cities, you're seeing the fans come back. It's really good to see. So it's good for baseball.
Well, that's it for us, folks. Please, if you watched an hour and 2 minutes of this, we love you. Give us a like. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We're at Pastime Podcast. Follow us on Facebook. We're the Father and Son Pastime Podcast there. And why not subscribe? Turn on that bell icon and get all the notifications of all of our new episodes.
Enjoy the day.